Hello everyone and welcome to Old Coins TV channel. If you love exploring the world of coins, their history, value, and rare discoveries, you've come to the right place. Here, we'll share exciting information about coins from around the world, from ancient treasures to modern currency. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to never miss our latest videos. The 1969 Roosevelt Dime stands as a multifaceted artifact in the long chronological chain of United States coinage, representing not merely a piece of currency but a physical outcome of political decisions, economic pressures, artistic choices, metallurgical science, and mid-20th century technological change. To understand this coin deeply, far beyond the normal collector's description, we must enter the world of American minting as it existed in the late 1960s. A world shaped by the rising global price of silver, the end of silver coinage, the complex transition to copper-nickel clad metal, the return of mintmarks after a brief removal, the expansion of automated high-speed presses, and the increasing role of numismatic demand in the production of special collector strikes. The 1969 dime is not rare in circulation, but its historical environment, production realities, symbolic meaning, and technological context give it a depth far beyond its physical size. It is a tiny disc of metal that contains within it the story of how America adapted its money to a new era. By 1969, the United States was only 4 years into the post-silver era. Before 1965, the dime had been composed of 90% silver, a tradition stretching back to the 1790s. But the early 1960s witnessed an unprecedented strain on the U.S. silver supply. Industrial demand exploded due to photography, electronics, and chemical processes. At the same time, the public began hoarding silver coins because their metal value was edging dangerously close to their face value. By 1963 and 1964, the situation became so strained that entire regions of the United States experienced actual coin shortages. Supermarkets, banks, and vending machine operators reported difficulty obtaining enough small change. This crisis forced Congress to rethink the entire coinage system. The result was the Coinage Act of 1965, a landmark law that eliminated silver from the dime and quarter and dramatically reduced the silver content of the half dollar. The new dime composition was a clad structure, a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of 75% copper, 25% nickel alloy. This gave the coin its silver-colored appearance without containing any precious metal. The transition to clad metal was not smooth. Silver is soft and strikes easily, allowing dies to impress deep, crisp designs. Nickel is harder and more resistant, which meant dies wore down faster, fine details sometimes appeared weaker, and the mint had to adjust press pressure, annealing times, die angles, and planchet preparation methods. Between 1965 and 1968, the mint was learning these new processes in real time. The 1969 dime therefore represents one of the first years where the new clad system began to stabilize. The mint had 4 years of experimentation behind it, and although early clad dimes still show weaknesses, slightly soft hair detail on Roosevelt, variations in torch sharpness, faint clashes, or minor surface imperfections, the consistency was notably improving. The 1969 dime is thus a coin from the early modern era of U.S. minting, no longer experimental, but not yet perfected. The design of the 1969 dime, unchanged since 1946, carries layers of symbolic meaning. On the obverse, John R. Sinek's portrait of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt pays tribute not only to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II but also to his connection with the March of Dimes, a national health campaign originally created to fight polio. Roosevelt, who himself lived with paralysis for most of his adult life, symbolized resilience and national unity. His portrait is bold yet understated, clean lines, deliberate simplicity, and a strong profile facing left. The inscription "Liberty" expresses a foundational national ideal, while "In God We Trust" continues the tradition of religious mottos on American money. The date 1969 anchors the coin in a turbulent era: the Vietnam War, the space race, the civil rights movement, rapid technological growth, and the reappearance of mintmarks in 1968 means that 1969 dimes include D for Denver and S for San Francisco proofs, while Philadelphia coins retain the tradition of no mintmark. The reverse of the 1969 dime, with its torch of liberty flanked by branches of olive and oak, offers one of the most elegant symbol sets in U.S. numismatics. The olive branch represents peace, both diplomatic peace and social peace. The oak branch signifies strength, endurance, and stability. The torch symbolizes enlightenment, knowledge, and the guiding light of freedom. Together, these three symbols express a message at the heart of Roosevelt's legacy, that the nation survives and grows through a balance of strength, peace, and liberty. The inscription E pluribus unum, out of many, one, emphasizes unity and diversity within the nation. This tri-symbol design has remained unchanged for decades because of its clarity, symmetry, and philosophical depth. The economic era of 1969 further enhances the significance of this dime. Inflation was rising but still moderate by modern standards. The dime still had meaningful purchasing power, enough to operate a payphone, buy a newspaper, or purchase snacks in many vending machines. In 1969, coins circulated heavily because credit cards, ATMs, and digital banking did not yet dominate daily life. As a result, most 1969 dimes endured years or even decades of circulation wear, which is why high-grade examples in mint state 67 or higher are significantly scarcer than the raw mintage numbers suggest. The majority of these coins fulfilled their intended purpose: everyday commerce, constant exchange, and the routine functioning of American economic life. The design of the 1969 dime carries deep symbolic significance. Sculpted by John R. Sinek, the eighth chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, the Roosevelt portrait reflects a mid-20th century artistic philosophy favoring bold simplicity. Sinek aimed to portray Roosevelt with dignity and determination, avoiding excessive ornamentation. The profile faces left, with crisp features, the strong jawline, short hair, defined nose, and a calm expression. The inscription Liberty appears on the left, symbolizing the central value Roosevelt fought to protect. In God We Trust rests beneath the chin, continuing the national tradition. The date 1969 anchors the coin historically during a period of American tension and transformation: the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Struggle, the Moon Landing year, and accelerating technological growth. On the reverse, Sinek created one of the most elegant symbolic compositions in U.S. numismatics, a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. These elements represent liberty, peace, and strength, values Roosevelt emphasized during his presidency. The inscription E pluribus unum underscores national unity. The symmetry, simplicity, and clarity of these symbols helped ensure the design would last for decades without becoming visually outdated. Today, more than 75 years later, the Roosevelt dime remains in circulation, making it one of the most enduring designs in American history. The 1969 dime was minted at 3 facilities: Philadelphia No mintmark, Denver D, and San Francisco S for proofs. Philadelphia and Denver coins were intended for circulation, while San Francisco produced high-quality proofs using polished dies and carefully prepared planchets. Proof 1969 dimes, especially those with deep cameo contrast, are prized by collectors for their mirror-like surfaces and frosted details. The difference between a circulation strike and a proof strike provides insight into the mint's technological capabilities. Proofs show how perfect the design could look under ideal conditions, while circulation strikes show how the design holds up under mass production. Although the 1969 dime is common in circulated grades, high-grade mint state examples are much scarcer than people expect. Early clad coins often developed small nicks, die fatigue lines, or weak hair detail, making Mississippi 67 and Mississippi 68 examples challenging to find. Collectors have discovered that the difficulty of obtaining high-grade clad coins from the 1960s is one reason they have risen in popularity. The coins may be common, but perfect examples are not. The 1969 dime also appears with various errors such as off-center strikes, broadstrikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks. Error collectors often study early clad years because the transition away from silver created additional opportunities for unusual minting results.